What if a single act of kindness could flip your entire world upside down? Imagine a stranger in a crowded coffee shop, unaware of who you are, handing you a moment that unravels secrets, forges unlikely bonds, and changes lives forever. This is the story of Nathan Harper, a billionaire hiding in plain sight, and Lila, a woman whose quiet courage sparked a journey neither saw coming. Buckle up, because this tale is packed with twists that'll leave you stunned and a revelation that'll hit you right in the heart. Don't click away. The ending will blow you away. Let's dive in. The glass doors of Harper Tower's ground floor coffee shop swung open at 7:10 a.m., spilling Nathan Harper into a whirlwind of clinking mugs, frothing espresso machines, and the hum of Manhattan's morning rush. The air smelled of dark roast and ambition, a place where dreams were either fueled or buried under the weight of the daily grind. Nathan, the billionaire CEO of Harper Ventures, didn't belong here, not the way the baristas, interns, and suits did. With a fortune that could buy the entire block, he was a shadow among his own employees, dressed in a plain black hoodie and jeans. No one noticed him. That was the point. Why was a man who owned private jets and a penthouse on the Upper East Side standing in a packed coffee line? Nathan had a secret. He wasn't here for a latte. He was here to listen, to feel the heartbeat of the company he'd built from a startup in his college dorm. But what he didn't expect was that this ordinary Tuesday would collide with a moment so extraordinary. It would challenge everything he thought he knew about power, kindness, and redemption. Nathan joined the line, his phone buzzing in his pocket. He ignored it, scanning the crowd. Executives barking into AirPods, interns clutching laptops with nervous smiles, and janitorial staff slipping through the chaos with quiet efficiency. He felt invisible, and it was liberating. No one knew the guy in the hoodie was the one signing their paychecks. The line inched forward. A man in a pinstripe suit sighed, loudly behind him. "This is taking forever," he muttered. A woman in heels snapped. "If you're not ready to pay, move aside. Some of us have meetings." Nathan felt eyes on him as he reached the counter. "Large latte, extra shot," he said, keeping his voice low. The barista, a kid with a faded Mets cap, rang it up. "That'll be $5.50. Nathan tapped his phone on the reader. Beep. Declined. He frowned, tried again. Beep. Declined. His screen flickered. Low battery, no alerts. He patted his pockets, realizing his wallet was back at his penthouse, tucked in the blazer he'd worn to last night's gala. Sorry," Nathan said, quieter than he meant. "I left my wallet at home." The barista's smile tightened, glancing at the restless line. "Cancel the order, sir." Before Nathan could nod, a sharp voice cut in. "Come on, man, we don't have all day." The crowd's impatience pressed against him like a wave. Nathan stepped back, heat creeping up his neck. "I'll cover it," a soft voice said from behind. Nathan turned. A young woman in a worn janitor's uniform stood there, her brown eyes steady and warm. Her name tag read Lila. She held a small, scuffed wallet in one hand, her cleaning cart parked nearby. Her face was calm, no hint of judgment, just quiet resolve. "You don't have to," Nathan started, but she shook her head. "It's fine," she said, stepping forward and tapping her card. "Beep, transaction approved." The barista nodded and turned to steam the milk. Nathan stared, caught off guard. "You sure?" Lila gave a small smile, like sunlight breaking through a storm. "It's just coffee. You do the same for me, right?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, I would." As the barista handed him the cup, a bit of foam splashed onto his hoodie, leaving a white smear. Before he could react, Lila reached into her cart, pulled out a clean rag, and stepped closer. "Hold still," she said, her voice gentle but firm. She dabbed at the stain, quick and precise, then stepped back. "There, almost good as new." Nathan blinked, touched by the gesture. "Thanks. I didn't catch your name." "Lila," she said simply, already turning back to her cart. He began, but she was already walking away, her cart rolling softly across the tiled floor. Nathan stood there, latte warming his hands, watching her vanish into the lobby. No demands, no expectations, just kindness. He took a sip, the coffee smooth and rich, But it was her gesture that lingered, a spark of humanity in a world that often felt mechanical. Why was Nathan really in that coffee shop? And what was it about Lila's kindness that hit him so hard? Stick around, because this moment is just the start of a story that's about to take a wild turn. Nathan stepped into the private elevator to the 30th floor, where his corner office overlooked the Hudson River. The latte was still warm, but his mind was on Lila, her quiet strength, the way she'd stepped up when no one else had. As the door slid shut, he glanced at the faint stain on his hoodie and smiled. It wasn't embarrassment, it was something warmer, rarer. The elevator dinged, and his assistant, Maya, was waiting with a tablet. "Morning, Mr. Harper," she said, her tone sharp and professional. "Morning," Nathan replied, distracted. "Maya, my car didn't work this morning. Can you get someone to check it?" Maya's brow furrowed. "It didn't go through?" "No, forgot my wallet. Phone payment failed. Someone else covered it." Maya's eyes widened. "Someone paid for you?" "Yeah," Nathan said, setting the cup on his desk. "A janitor. Lila." No hesitation, just helped. Maya raised an eyebrow. "She didn't know who you were?" "Not a clue," he said, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "That's what made it real." Maya scribbled a note. "I'll pull her file from HR, quietly." "Don't make it formal," Nathan said quickly. "Just find out who she is, where she works, how long she's been here. Don't spook her." Maya nodded and left. Nathan sat, staring at the latte, steam curling upward like a question mark. He'd met presidents, tech moguls, and movie stars, but none had left him this curious. Lila wasn't just a janitor. There was a story behind her, and he needed to know it. What was it about Lila that Nathan couldn't let go of? Was it just her kindness, or was there a deeper connection waiting to be uncovered? Nathan leaned back in his leather chair, the Manhattan skyline sprawling beyond his floor-to-ceiling windows. He opened his laptop and typed Lila Bennett into the employee portal. Her profile loaded, a small photo, a simple smile, no pretense. Age 28, 3 years at Harper Ventures, assigned to floors 10 to 15 as a facilities assistant. The details were bare, almost sterile, but at the bottom, in a section most employees ignored, was a single line: "I work to rise, not to be pitted." The words hit him like a jolt. Not a plea, not a performance, just raw truth. Nathan's curiosity deepened. He accessed a restricted database, one only C-suite executives could use, and dug deeper. Her file was thin, almost suspiciously so. No college degree, just a partial community college certificate, abandoned. A handwritten note in her application caught his eye. Left school due to family tragedy. Eager to learn. Family tragedy. The phrase gnawed at him. He ran her name through a public records search, expecting nothing. Then a headline flashed on the screen. Asterisk, Bronx teen saves siblings in apartment fire. Parents lost. Asterisk. Nathan froze. 8 years ago, Lila, then 20, had pulled her younger brother and sister from a burning tenement. Her parents didn't make it. She dropped out of college the next semester, disappearing into the grind of low-wage jobs. No wonder her resume had holes. No wonder she wrote about rising, not pity. Nathan leaned back, his chest tight. He saw her again, not as a janitor, but as a young woman who'd faced fire and kept moving forward. Her kindness in the coffee shop wasn't random. It was who she was, and he couldn't let her story end there. He opened an email to HR. Subject, Lila Bennett. Remove her rejection from the Horizon program. Schedule her for a one-on-one with me. ASAP. Why was Nathan so invested in Lila's future? Was it gratitude, or was there a secret he didn't yet know? And how would Lila react when she learned who he really was? Lila stood outside the 30th floor office the next morning, her hands clasped to hide their trembling. The HR email had come out of nowhere. Report to the CEO's office, 9 a.m. No details, just her name in bold. She'd reread it a dozen times, certain it was a mistake. Now, in her cleanest uniform, she felt like she was trespassing. "You can go in," the receptionist said. Lila stepped inside. Nathan stood from his desk, his presence warm, not intimidating. He wore simple button-down, sleeves rolled up, no trace of corporate coldness. "Lila," he said, smiling. Thanks for coming. Good morning, sir, she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. Sit, he gestured. She did, hands folded tightly. You seem nervous, he said gently. A bit, she admitted. I've never been up here. Nathan leaned forward. You're here because you paid for my coffee yesterday. Lila's eyes widened. That was you. He nodded. I didn't say who I was. Most people don't recognize me. You're the CEO? Her voice was barely a whisper. I am. She sat back, stunned. I didn't know. I'm sorry if. Don't apologize, he cut in. You helped me when you didn't know who I was. That's why you're here. Lila blinked, confused. Nathan leaned closer. I read your file. I know about the fire, your family. You gave up everything to keep them safe. Her face tightened, but she held his gaze. They needed me, she said simply. That's why I want you in the Horizon program, Nathan said. It's for people like you. People who deserve a shot. Lila's breath caught. Me? I don't have a degree. You've got more than most, he said. You showed me what strength looks like. Lila's eyes flickered with hope, but also doubt. Why me, she asked. Nathan hesitated, then slid an envelope across the desk. Because you reminded me what this company's missing. Heart. Inside was an offer, a paid internship in the Horizon program, with mentorship and a chance to lead. Lila stared at it, her hands frozen. This is too much. It's not charity, Nathan said firmly. It's what you've earned. Would Lila take the leap? And what was Nathan hiding about why her story hit him so hard? Lila's first day in the Horizon program was like stepping onto a tightrope. Her janitor's uniform was gone, replaced by a thrifted blazer and slacks. Her desk was small, near a window with a view of Midtown, but it felt too big for her. The whispers followed like shadows. She's the janitor, right? CEOs pity hire. No college degree. She'll crash and burn. Lila ignored them, burying herself in work. She stayed late, asked questions, and filled a notebook with notes. At lunch, she ate alone at her desk, studying spreadsheets while others grabbed sandwiches at the deli downstairs. Her supervisor, Tara, noticed. Still here. Learning, Lila said, pointing to a report. Can you explain this formula? Tara sat, surprised but impressed, and walked her through it. Slowly, Lila found her rhythm. Not by fighting the gossip, but by outworking it. Could Lila prove the doubters wrong? And why was Nathan watching her progress so closely? 2 weeks later, Lila sat quietly in a strategy meeting, her notebook open, her presence barely noticed. The team was stuck, arguing over software budget overruns. Nathan sat at the back, observing. When the discussion stalled, Lila raised her hand, her first time speaking. Yes, Tara said, startled. I checked the expense logs, Lila said, her voice steady. We're overspending on duplicate software licenses. If we consolidate access, we could save 65%. She turned her laptop, showing a detailed plan. The room went silent, then buzzed with questions. Nathan watched, his expression unreadable but intense. That night, Lila found a note on her desk. Asterisk, you're rewriting the rules. Keep going. Asterisk, it wasn't signed, but she knew Nathan's handwriting. Lila sat alone, the note in her hands. For the first time, she felt seen, not as a janitor, but as someone who belonged. But why did Nathan's support feel so personal? What was Nathan hiding? And how would Lila react when the truth came out? The Harper Tower Gala was a dazzling affair. Chandeliers, jazz, and executives toasting a decade of success in a ballroom overlooking Central Park. Lila stood on the terrace in a simple navy dress, shivering in the cool night air. Nathan appeared, slipping his jacket over her shoulders without a word. Cold, he asked. A little, she said, smiling. They stood together, watching fireworks light up the skyline. Nathan spoke softly. I can't promise it'll be easy, Lila, but I'll be here. She looked at him, then reached for his hand. As their hands touched, Nathan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his face paling. A text from Maya. Found something. Lila's mother worked for your father's firm. There's more. Nathan froze. Lila didn't notice, her eyes on the fireworks. What did Maya mean by more? And how would this revelation shake the bond between Nathan and Lila? The next day, Nathan called Lila to his office. His usual warmth was clouded by something heavier. "Lila," he said, his voice low, "there's something you need to know." She sat, her heart pounding. "Your mother worked for my father's investment firm 15 years ago," he said. "She was fired unfairly. My father, he cut corners. I didn't know until yesterday." Lila's face tightened. "Why tell me now?" "Because I owe you," Nathan said. "Her firing left your family in debt. I think it set the stage for everything you went through." Lila stood, her hands trembling. "You knew?" "Not until now," he said, standing too. "I swear, but I want to make it right." She turned away, tears in her eyes. "I need time." Could Lila forgive Nathan? And what would she do with this painful truth? Weeks passed. Lila poured herself into her work, her quiet leadership transforming the Horizon program. She proposed the second door, an initiative for those overlooked by traditional hiring, people with gaps in their resumes, like her. Nathan backed it fully, and it became Harper Venture's flagship program, earning national acclaim. At a tech conference in San Francisco, Nathan spoke about the second door, his voice steady. "It started with someone who saw me when I was just a guy in a hoodie," he said, glancing at Lila backstage. After, they met in a quiet hallway. "I'm sorry," Nathan said, "for what my family did." Lila nodded slowly. "You're not your father. You gave me a chance. That's enough." They walked out together, no longer just CEO and intern, but partners in a shared mission. Nathan and Lila sat in the same coffee shop where it began, a latte for him, chamomile tea for her. The barista grinned. "No wallet issues today, huh?" They laughed, their hands brushing across the table. Lila smiled. This was never just about coffee. Nathan nodded. It was about us. Kindness isn't just a moment, it's a movement. Lila and Nathan's story reminds us that one small act can rewrite lives, spark change, and show us the power of seeing people for who they are. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs a lift. Subscribe, hit the bell, and join us for more stories that prove the smallest gestures can leave the biggest marks. Until next time, keep the door open for kindness.